Bradley Johnson here, continuing on from my last two videos on getting ripped for 2014. The first one I told you just do something. The second one I gave slightly more specifics on what you should be doing in the gym, how you should be training, and the movement patterns you roughly should be going through. This third one, I'm going to start addressing that which you're probably waiting for me to get onto, which is diet. And to anyone that has been dieting for a long time and it's working out, again, I'm qualifying this one more time. You might not have seen the previous ones. This is for new people, people that don't really know what to do, that are mystified by the whole fat loss muscle growth thing and don't really know how they're going to start making their gains. So this is what I'm going to suggest to you for you new people. Okay, first of all, you may have heard a lot of talk about macros and calories. Don't worry about them. Ignore that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Ignore it. Forget it. Put it out of your mind. Also, you may be checking the kind of person that checks the scales and checks down scales. What do I weigh? Forget about that too. No stands on the scales. Don't worry about that. You're getting your mind too caught up in too much foolishness. Your mind should be 100% focused on the gym and perfecting those lifts so you don't injure yourself and you make the most amount of gains while you're there. You should be a training monkey. A monkey designed for training. All you should be thinking about is benching and squatting and press and rows and running if you're doing cardio and all that stuff. You should be focused entirely on the activity you do to make yourself a more able human being, because that is the primary thing. That is 99% of this. I don't know what percentage is. It's a lot percentage. You got to train. So the next thing you want to be doing is cleaning up the way in which you eat. I said cleaning up the way in which you eat, not eating clean, because it's not really eating clean. What you need to do is free up your mind for more training. So you got to make sure that your diet is not something you're thinking about at all. And to that end, I would say to anyone that's starting this to start preparing meals in advance. What that means, when I started, I was cooking meals once a week. Breakfast I did every morning because I make a cooked breakfast in the morning. But other than that, everything else I was just putting had Tupperware containers, slam them in the microwave, they come out. My Tupperware containers contained at the start white rice, along with, or maybe pasta. I have white rice and pasta, one of the two, along with a green bean, which would normally be broccoli, maybe asparagus, maybe some spinach, maybe some green beans, and then finally I'd have some type of lean protein source, which would tend to be either tuna, chicken breast, tilapia fish, what else would I have? Steak, or lean mince, made into like a kind of a meatloaf thing that I used to make. It doesn't greatly matter. Whatever you like, that resembles whole real foods, because you look at it and you understand where it came from. You're like, look at that grew out of the ground, that makes sense to me. Look at that, they probably killed an animal for that. And look at this appears to be a grain of some description. That's kind of foods we're talking about. And if you want a condiment with it, go for it, whatever, relax. And what you're gonna do is apportion those meals into Tupperware containers, cook in a big batch, get a whole heap of chicken going, loads of chicken in the foreman grill, a whole oven full of chicken, loads of steaks, whatever it is, loads of fish, however you're making it, however you're preparing the meal, and just slap them in Tupperware containers, put some in the fridge, put some in the freezer, and just cycle through and keep going until they're out and then start again. That way, what you'll do there is you will allow your laziness, because if you're on this looking to try and get fit in shape, you probably were lazy at some aspect in your life before. So if we can clean that laziness up and utilize it instead of trying to pretend you never were lazy, you'll be able to make more gains. What I mean by that is, when I was eating before, I couldn't be bothered to cook. Like a few years ago, I was fat and I couldn't bother to cook. I just eat takeaway, or I used to get little pizzas from Chicago Town, little Chicago Town pizzas, put them in the oven because now I have to think about it, put them in, take them out and eat those. Now, because it's so accessible and those things are so caloric because they're factory produced, they're full of a lot of calories, and that is how I got fat. Just by eating loads and loads and loads of simple, don't have to worry about it, just pay the man when he arrives with, on the little bike with the pizza from Domino's type of food. So I'd have Domino's pizzas, I'd have kebabs, I'd have KFC, I'd have Chinese, I'd have Chicago Town pizzas. I used to get bread and loads of these sandwich fillers with like loads of mayo and stuff, just anything that meant I didn't have to cook, didn't have to work hard because I was lazy. So what I had to do was accept this laziness, because you can't just become somebody else sometimes. You have to accept it and utilize it. Now, what I mean by utilizing it is, if I accept and know and understand that I'm a lazy person, then I know I'm going to go for the easiest food source. Now, once I've put in the energy, one bout of energy is easy to do. One bout of cooking for the whole week, I've done it. I've done that cook, okay? That took 3 hours of my day. That's my energy, gone. Now, I don't have to worry about cooking for the rest of the week. It then becomes the easiest thing to do is to put my tub in the microwave and out comes my food. It's easier than finding the pizza menu, working out what I'm gonna get, calling them, what's your card number, where's my card, 47, no, I'm not telling you. Tell them my card number, wait for them to come to the door, go answer the door, open, take the pizza in thing, I've got the box, got to throw, all this stuff, I've got to do all this stuff. Takeaway becomes more work than your food that you already have. And that is how you avoid cheating, by just going to laziness. When it's a lot more difficult to cheat when your food is right there, you know? Because if you're in a position where you're like, really I should be eating something that I deem healthy, like some tilapia with some green beans and maybe some sweet potato or something, and there's the sweet potato there sitting there, I've got to wash it and clean it up, and I've got to put the green beans in the steamer, and oh man, I've got to do the tilapia, I've got to put that in the oven, and oh screw it, I'll just call Domino's. That's easier to call Domino's, but if you've already prepared the food already for the whole week, you can utilize your laziness, and just, it's much easier to go bing, and take it out. Now some people might not like the microwave and they may like to do it differently, and whatever. It's just advice I can give. This is what worked for me. I'm just telling you a fantastic way for someone new to cooking and that doesn't want to cook too much. You're not going to go from I was hardly cooking my meals to I'm cooking every night, I'm cooking every day, 3 times a day. That's ridiculous. No one's going to do that. But anyone can stomach one cooking session a week. That's not a big deal. Everyone's got a spare 3 hours. They can just go, all right, let me just cook and be done with it. And put them in the fridge, put them in the freezer, and you just keep pulling them out. And if you're talking about a list of foods to eat, it doesn't really matter. Just like I said, go with, can you work out where that came from? That'll do. That'll do. If you look at it and you go like, that comes from there. Like if you see a chicken nugget, what is it? Describe it. How'd they get that? You got to do all this thinking. All that thinking means probably should just not eat that. So go with that. If you cheat sometimes, it will probably affect your results negatively, but not enough to get worried about. Don't be trying to be crazy militant. Just make your things and have 90% of what you eat, whatever highest percentage you can eat, you can get away with. Clean eating, clean up diet of having the same general vibe of eating. So you wake up in the morning, you may make your breakfast, or maybe you prepare your breakfast in advance, or maybe just have one of the tubs that you've already made of the chicken and brown rice, whatever, you eat that, and then later on you have another. You just keep going through that. You might have a box of nuts and some fruit or something to snack on, so have a few fruits a day, and you just apportion those and you take those to work with you, you take those to school, you take those to college with you, and there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. You don't need to worry too much about portions or anything. A month down the line, if you're putting weight on and you don't want to be, or you're losing weight and you don't want to be, you can adjust your portions. You can, instead of cooking this much chicken for the week, you can cook a little bit more or a little bit less. You can make a little bit more rice or a little bit less. You don't need to overthink it. You will intuitively work out that you're eating too much or you're eating too little. And you should be pretty full considering you're eating whole foods that are quite satiating. And you should also, because you're eating a broad range of foods, you should start to work out what's easier for you to cook, what you enjoy cooking more, what you enjoy eating more, what is more satisfying to you once you've eaten it. So you'll work out through experience, which is, experience is worth 1,000 words. You can listen to all I'm saying, but when you start doing it, it's not until you've done a bulk cook 10 times that you realise, okay, always do the chicken first, because if I don't do the chicken first, that gets cold, and that's in the way of this while I do it. There's all these little tiny things that you really can only work out by doing them. I could tell you a million different ways of doing stuff, but your kitchen is your kitchen, and the way in which you eat and the way in which you enjoy food is totally different to mine. Your life, your structure, the way in which you store it, the amount of space you have to store food, all these things, they're going to be your world and your containers and the way in which you have to work out for yourself. So just get to it, go for a big cook, get it all done, get it all stored away, and the first one you may make a few mistakes, but the second one you'll make a few less, and the third one will be even less than that, and you just keep going. That is my advice for nutrition from the start, because I don't want anyone starting off in this fitness journey measuring their weight, getting into that whole militant thing with measuring their weight, checking out their macros, making sure they're exactly measuring the things perfect. Just calm down, man. Just eat some food. Just clean it up a little bit, clean up your diet. Make it sensible. Eat like a grown-up. That's what I said before. Eat like a grown-up. Hopefully there's been some help. If you have any queries or videos, suggestions or anything, let me know. Other than that, like the video, like my Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and of course subscribe. I remembered my outro. I remembered it. Yes, Bradley Aidan Johnson. Peace.